Hello and welcome back to Storytime with Mrs. Harrigy. I'm Mrs. Harrigy. As promised, I am back to read the second Auntie Claus. This is Auntie Claus and the Key to Christmas. Once again, I love the illustrations, so I will be showing all of them. Auntie Claus, New York, North Pole. Darling, the story you are about to be told is absolutely true. It happened on Christmas, when my nephew Christopher began to have doubts. Shall we say, the entire family was in a frightful uproar and very cross. Well, we couldn't have that, heavens no. So it was up to me to intervene. Now, hang up your stockings, darlings, and turn this page, for here is where you will find my key to Christmas. Young Christopher Kringle lived at the Bing Cherry Hotel in New York City with his parents, the Kringles, and his sister Sophie. Chris loved going to the Jingle Bell Company where his father was the president. He spent many happy hours at the Mistletoe to Nail Salon where his mother owned. But most of all, Chris loved listening to his great aunt, Auntie Claus, tell stories about the Kringle family, the North Pole, and Santa. Dear boy, she would always say, when things seem dark and dreary, if times turn sour and bitter, think like a Kringle. You'll soon find your way to all the sparkles and glitters. But Chris wasn't so sure, not anymore, for he had begun to wonder about his great aunt. In fact, Chris had begun to wonder about his entire family. Then one day, he overheard a pair of out-of-towners, the Spam twins, who were staying at the Bing while on tour promoting their book, We're Geniuses and You're Not. Chris soon learned that Ozzie and Pam were commonly known as the Smarty Pants Spams and had become international sensations. So how could he ignore something they'd said? Hey, Pam, Ozzie snickered. It's a week after Halloween and that lady in the Christmas outfit is still in her costume, snickered Pam. You'd think she was Santa Claus's sister, Ozzie snorted. Only babies believe in Santa Claus, they chortled. And so it was that exactly 1 week after Halloween, Chris repeated that he had heard, what he had heard, and the entire Kringle family was thrown into a tremendous uproar. Mrs. Kringle screamed and dropped a full bottle of mistletoe nail polish on the carpet. Mr. Kringle, who was in the process of stringing jingle bells, lost his balance and careened right into the middle of his favorite Christmas tree. And you call yourself a Kringle? Shame on you, said Chris's older sister, Sophie. To no one's surprise, Chris was immediately summoned to Auntie Claus's suite at the Bing to Penthouse 25C for tea. It had come to my attention, Auntie Claus began. There's a nasty rumor going on that some children are saying, well, it's unspeakable, preposterous, it's completely unacceptable. Marmalade cake, darling? Chris squirmed in his seat. I have never known a Kringle to repeat such things. Auntie Claus paused to stir her tea. It is time you learned a little family secret. But first, there is something you should know about children who start such rumors. The room suddenly became very dark. Dark clouds began piling outside. The truth of the matter is that children eventually become rather unattractive grown-ups. They try some lovely cookies, darling. Unattractive? Chris asked. Yes, said Auntie Claus. These children become grown-ups who enjoy seeing a birthday cake slip off the edge of the table and go splat onto the floor. To them, having it rain on the day of a parade is what eating a chocolate eclair is to you, and they have just formed a club. A club? Said Chris. Yes, darling, a club, said Auntie Claus. It is called the Parade Rainers. The Parade Rainers United National Elite Society, or Prunes for short. Heavens, Auntie Claus continued, that you, of all people, would say such a thing. Why, I should think it would rather hurt Santa's feelings. Do you know Santa? Chris asked. Why, of course I know him. The very idea, Auntie Claus said. Sophie rolled her eyes. Chris going to be on the BB&G list again. BB&G list, said Chris. Auntie Claus sighed. BB&G, darling, is short for bad boys and girls. Anyone Santa's BB&G list goes without presents for Christmas. So unfortunate. But Chris was not convinced. I'll believe it when I see it, he said. That's unfortunate. But Chris was not, I'll believe it when I see it, he said. That's my motto. Dear boy, don't you know that all the best things are invisible? Auntie Claus said. Sometimes you have to believe in order to see. That is my motto. That is the key. At midnight, Auntie Claus left for her annual business trip. And at midnight, Chris was wide awake. Is there really a BB&G list, he thought. I get presents every year, and to be honest, I'm not all that good. There was only one way to find out. Chris had made up his mind. If there really was a BB&G list, my name is going to be on it, he said, and maybe then I'll get to the bottom of this family secret once and for all. The very next day, Chris eliminated please and thank you from his vocabulary. He made rude noises, ate with his mouth open. He whined whenever he looked like someone had something better than he did, and regularly squashed his vegetables in his dinner napkin. For good measure, he started cheating at board games and screaming if he didn't get his own way. By Christmas Eve, Chris was pretty sure he had covered everything, but he still had his doubts. There is no such thing as a BB&G list, he said. There is too, said Sophie. I'll believe it when I see it, Chris said. What if I told you that I got your name off that list last year? Because I'm such a nice sister. Sophie said. You are not, said Chris. I am too, said Sophie. And that's not all. Auntie Claus is Santa Claus's older sister. She is not, insisted Chris. Is, shouted Sophie. Prove it, demanded Chris. I will, said Sophie, but we'll have to go on a little trip. Fine, said Chris. Sophie grabbed her brother's hand and led him up to Auntie Claus's penthouse. Shh, Sophie said as they tiptoed through the dimly lit apartment to Auntie Claus's private alligator. From inside her jumper, she removed a red ribbon necklace, at the end of which was a diamond key. Look, she whispered. The key glittered in her hand. If you don't believe me, Sophie said, inserting the key into the lock on the elevator, then ask Mr. Pudding. The elevator door slid open. I will, said Chris, stepping inside. Who's Mr. Pudding? The door began to close. Say that you're the new elf. Don't forget, Sophie said. Suddenly the key sparkled and flashed, illuminating the darkness, and flew from her hand into Chris's just before the door slid shut. What? Said Chris. The doors closed and the elevator began to move. Wait, Chris screamed. Remember, you're the new elf. Sophie's voice faded as the elevator rose. Higher, higher. I'm the new elf, Chris said as the elevator began to pick up speed. I'm the new elf, he repeated through chattered teeth. The night was getting colder and colder. Chris looked around the elevator and was relieved to see a warm jacket, a hat, a pair of mittens, socks, boots, and trousers, all neatly folded in one corner. He quickly put them on and placed the key around his neck. The elevator door continued its trip through the starry night. Thunk! The elevator landed and Chris stepped out. I'm the new elf, he said loud and clear. Hello, Mr. Pudding. Here, head elf in charge of vital rules and information. Good, said Chris. You're just the person I was told to see. Oh dear, oh dear. Who did you say you are? The new elf, said Chris. No, you're not. Mr. Pudding looked clearly at Chris. You are Christopher Kringle. Oh dear, oh dear. He pulled out a little red and green notebook and started to read. At 10:12 a.m., that's Eastern Standard Time, on November 8th through the 14th, Christopher Kringle made rude noises and on those days did not say please or thank you. Oh dear, let me see. Vegetable squashing, eating with his mouth open. We've got quite a bit of insisting on his own way. Oh dear, December 20th, cheating at Candyland. Mr. Pudding escorted Chris out of the gates. Sorry, but it's a rule, part of our arrival procedures. No BB&G, meaning no spoiled brats, no crybabies, and absolutely no one who doesn't believe, he whispered. Mr. Pudding closed the gates. But, Chris wailed, I was just trying to get on the BB&G list on purpose. Oh dear, said Mr. Pudding, and no whiners either. He locked the gates. Mr. Pudding, Chris called. You don't understand. It's not my fault. It's Ozzie and Pam's. Ozzie and Pam, some voices said. Chris was startled to see a company of snowboys. You know them, he said. The Spam twins are members in very good standing, they all replied. Members, said Chris. They're international sensations, they added. Can you help me, Chris said. I've been locked out of Christmas. Locked out of Christmas? Come with us. We're on our way to see the High Head. He'll like you. Yeah, but will I like him? Chris thought, because these snowboys are already starting to get on my nerves. Down, down, down they marched. It began to drizzle as the snowboys sang. We're spoiled brats. We like to whine. We're prickly as a porcupine. We don't believe in you-know-who or in reindeers that can fly. If we don't get our own way, we'll scream, we'll bite, we'll cry. Yes, we're on the list every year until we're 21, but we don't care because being bad is just too darn much fun. And when we're all grown up, we'll have one great big goal to turn your sparkly diamonds into lumps of coal. In short, we love to burst balloons. Our heroes, Ebenezer Scrooge. And why is that? Because we're prunes. Chris whispered. Welcome, said the High Head. There was a flash of lightning. These aren't snow boys, Chris thought. They're prune boys. And that's where we're going to stop. If you want to see the rest of this book, please tune into the next video. Please tune into the next episode, like this video, and subscribe below. Bye-bye.